I'm in love with Orania.
Yes.
Can I stay in here?
You're not Afrikaner.
Afrikaners are descendants of Dutch settlers who arrived at the Cape of Good Hope on a boat in the year 1652. Would you say that Orania is a controversial town in South Africa?
Orania is definitely. I don't have to doubt it. I know that Orania is controversial.
Orania.
What is happening? Can somebody answer?
Section 235 of the South African Constitution acknowledges the right of cultural groups to self-determination. But what about the Afrikaner enclave of Orania, which also uses race to determine who can be allowed to live in that community?
The main reason why it's controversial is misperception. I think so, it's my personal opinion. Misperception about Orania. The people who have the most to say about Orania have never visited.
Would you agree with me if I say that this man performed a lot of atrocities in the past?
It's our history.
But I know it's your history, but at the end of the day, a lot of people were harmed in the process. You don't think if you are embracing this, you're definitely embracing apartheid?
Is it okay to celebrate Shaka Zulu, Zulu leader? Do you know who that is?
I know who Shaka Zulu is.
He killed a lot of people. Is it fine to celebrate him?
That's a question for South Africans.
That is a question. This is a question for Iranians.
Hello guys, today our lenses focused on South Africa. And where in South Africa am I talking about? Orania. Yes, you heard me right. Orania. Oranians are Africans. Okay? They actually are Africans. And Africans are descendants of Dutch settlers, who came to South Africa in the year 1652. That's the 17th century. They came, settled, they've been there, had that particular land that they are occupying. There's another thought that says that it was bought. But then, they are practicing something very, very serious and a bit sensitive, because where they are occupying in Orania, these Africans do not allow any black to go to this place. If you're a black man, you're out. So the policy is white in, black out. White in, black out.
I don't even know how to feel right now. Should I tell you guys that I'm super scared? Because I'm about to do one of the craziest videos that I've never dreamt of. This particular video will definitely go down as one of my most sensitive vlogs ever. I mean, I'm currently in Cape Town, driving to a town that so many South Africans don't want to hear about. I mean, if I talk about South Africans, I'm talking about Black South Africans, indigenous South Africans, people that were here before the settlers came in here. I believe that most of you have heard of the town. In my whole lifetime, I never thought I would come across a town within the land of black people where blacks are not allowed to live in there. People out there believe that Orania is a racist model. Do you believe that whatever you guys are practicing here is racism?
No.
So what is it then?
It's a cultured town. It's a cultured town. It's an Afrikaner town. The narrative is out there that if you preserve your culture, you're racist, and that's not true.
But I don't think an African can leave Africa, go to Europe, and say that we just bought this land, and no one is allowed to come in.
Just white in, black out.
And why is that? You see, that is our culture. The culture of the Afrikaners are black out, white in. So what it means is that if you go there, you can visit, probably just visit, but to live there, to stay there, It is not allowed. You cannot. I'm even thinking that maybe you are not even allowed to sleep. Maybe it's a return journey. But if you are allowed to sleep, then it means that your life is going to be monitored. So it's a serious stuff that is going on in South Africa. And I find it very strange. Because how can foreigners live in a land in Africa, these white people live in a land under black man's land, I mean. And then they tell you that you, the black man who owns the original owners of that land, you are not allowed entry.
It's a question of culture.
But someone might ask, if you want to preserve your culture, you're preserving your culture on a land that belongs to South Africa.
Well, that is whole nother debate.
If that is the case, then let's bring the other debate.
Terrible things are happening in South Africa.
White South Africans make up about 8% of the population, but they hold about 3/4 of privately owned land in the country. In contrast, only 4% of privately held land is owned by Black South Africans, who make up nearly 80% of the country's 60 million residents.
I'm sure that you guys know that white people were not originally from South Africa. Like, they migrated in the late 17th century from Netherlands, France, England, Germany, in short, from Europe. I mean, they were immigrants in South Africa, but they forcefully colonized the people. Actually, no. They enslaved the owners of the land, the Black South Africans. This is something that Donald Trump doesn't know, by the way, so you're welcome.
Of the decision.
Last month, President Cyril Ramaphosa signed into law a bill that allows the government to expropriate property for public purposes or in the public interest, in some cases without compensation.
And the question is, can any black, have or find their way into any European, land or country, develop an area and say no white man is allowed there, no European is allowed? Is that possible? You understand what I mean? Is that possible? And the question is, what the Maya asked them, don't you think what you are practicing is racism? That no black is allowed there? They said, no, that is their culture. And so their culture is simply this: black out, white in. And, South Africa's President Ramaphosa just passed a law that they are going to expropriate lands, and which means the government is going to take hold of certain lands, and in some cases will pay compensation, and in some cases they will not. And the president have that authority, the nation has that authority backed by law to do that, so they can take it and develop it for national interest. That is allowed. So you had Donald Trump, coming into that they are going to give Iranians refugee status, and that South Africa is doing something that is bad and is against whatever his visions and plans are for the people in South Africa, the white community. Donald Trump came in and promised them that, but the people said, no, that is not what we want. We don't want anybody's money. What they want is just recognition.
Welcome back. Oranje, an Afrikaner-only town in South Africa, has weighed in on the U.S. President Donald Trump's order halting financial aid to South Africa and offering refugee status to Afrikaners.
But this is what the Afrikaners think about Trump's offer.
We are not necessarily interested in tax dollars and handouts and help. What we want, we already got to an extent. We want recognition. We want recognition from abroad. We want recognition locally, and we want recognition from our peers. That is to say, firstly, those people are a people upon themselves, and this, they have the right to make certain decisions for themselves. That is what we want. We don't want people's money. We don't want people's handouts. We as Oranje want larger recognition, greater recognition. And I think that is not too much to ask. Actually, I think that's very reasonable.
And what recognition do they want? That they have to be recognized and accepted as people living in that community, and that no black is allowed there. So it means that if you are a white person you can go there, live your life, enjoy your life, and be, happy with yourself. Because their culture will not allow a black man to live in this community. And so a question was posed to this interview with a man from African, that what do you think about the expropriation law? He said, no, the people of South Africa do not want land. That is not what they are interested in, because farming is a tough job that South Africans are not interested in farming. It's tough. They are not interested in farming. What they are interested in is the economy. They are not interested in farming. And there's no money in farming.
Well, I don't think land expropriation without compensation is a good idea. I think the land is not the problem. The problem in South Africa is economic problem, and there's actually been research done on that, proving that people don't necessarily want land, they want a better economic future. Most people don't want to be farmers. To farm is a tough job, it's not a very rewarding job in terms of money and so on. I also think that the South African economy will collapse if there is land expropriation without compensation.
Is that really true? That there's no money in farming? And it's tough, so South Africans don't want to farm, they don't want the land for anything? And that if government goes ahead with that plan, the economy of South Africa is going to collapse. What do you think about this whole video? What do you think about different people finding themselves in a different country and now dictating the pace? That I don't want you, the owner of the land, to come to where I live. What do you think? Give me your thought about this. Let's have a discussion in the comment section, because I don't seem to get it. Maybe you have a point. You know something that I do not know. Kindly share your view in the comment section, and let's continue the discussion. It's very interesting, and it's something else. Actually, I'm really lost of words. I do not know what to say again. So kindly, let me know what you think about this whole thing. That a different group of people living in South Africa and practicing. If this is not racism, then I don't know what it is. Kindly subscribe to this channel, Authentic Plus TV. I'm Jibril, and give me your like and share this video. Thank you.